Go away.
In Libbyland, kids kept a lookout for Libbyland dinners.
It's Libby the Kid.
That's Billy the Kid spelled sideways, sort of.
I'll spell him sideways.
Will Libby the Kid deliver the Libbyland dinners? Will the kids ever taste the safari supper with 2 chicken patties? Or the sundown supper's double beef patty? And the Nestle's Quick that's in all Libbyland dinners? They will! Libbyland dinners are more fun than ever. Try all 5.
Go ahead, see if I care.
In Libbyland, kids kept a lookout for Libbyland dinners.
It's Libby the Kid.
That's Billy the Kid spelled
Well, I
sideways,
guess
I'll spell him sideways.
guess we're just going into the same commercial again. Hey, it's me. I'm back. My wife is opening and shutting the door in the midst of my live stream, which is, of course, is not what she's supposed to be doing. She's supposed to be... I don't know what she's supposed to be doing. Welcome back. It's me, Dan. And we're finally finished with cereal. Took me 3 weeks to finish cereal. Now I'm going to move on to something different, which is going to be Libbyland and Libbyland TV dinners. And in addition to Libbyland, we're also going to be doing normal TV dinners and then just entree-ish foods in general. So this is sort of a mixed bag of things you might have as an entree as opposed to most of the stuff that I get into, which is snacks, cookies, drinks, things that are sugary, although these are generally pretty sugary. But we're going to kind of look at some of the things that are actually something that count as a meal. Just to sort of round out this episode. So we start with Libbyland. Libbyland was a series of kids' TV dinners. I think it might have been the very first kids' TV dinners. And, now there's 3 or 4 brands, and there's been a number of brands, Kid Cuisine and whatnot, which sort of come up and stay around. Libbyland were great because they had these great commercials, which we'll get into the commercials a little more. And they had great characters, and they had these great packages. And the packages were super cool because they have like a punch out, so you actually get to you're supposed to sort of cook the meal, then put it back in the box, and then do the little pop up, and then you get to enjoy this image as you're eating. And the image has beautiful 3D sculpted, and then there's a little game you can play where you have to can you find the hunter and the 12 animals hiding in the picture, and you can see there's the hunter, and there's like a snake, and there's a monkey, and so you just it's got a little bit of everything for 65 cents. Kids fun dinner. And I mean, this is just a great package. From the clay sort of sculpted animals to the illustration to the 3D to all the different fonts going on. And of course, on the back, we've got a picture of a terrible little piece of chicken. What's in this thing? Fried chicken, alphabet spaghetti and meatballs and tomato sauce. So you're getting kind of you're getting spaghetti and meatballs. You're getting corn. You're getting like 4 tater tots, and you're getting chocolate pudding. And then inside is a packet of Milk Magic, which is chocolate, which is basically, a chocolate milk thing. Interesting thing is, we've seen a few of these boxes turn up. These boxes turn up every once in a while, and they're getting more and more expensive. And I one of the first things I was looking for when I started collecting were Libbyland boxes, and I accrued a total of 2 in all of my collecting. I've had a shot at 2, and occasionally just the pop-ups will turn up. But I've never seen a Milk Magic package. The other interesting thing was I was watching these commercials, and I realized that the Milk Magic was just in these this sort of first year packages. After the first year, it went to Quick. So they and there's a little illustration of what you're supposed to do. How to make the box into a puzzle placemat, which is like super cool. Opening and heating, kids, moms. Nothing super interesting on the sides, but This is, had the zip strip. But these boxes are incredibly uncommon. This one, Safari Supper. So they started with 3. Safari Supper, and then they also had, let's get this one out. This is the other, shall we say, complete or near complete box that I have. The Sundown Supper, and there we have like a little chuck wagon and a cowboy guy, and we're looking for Indians. And as you can see, it's pretty much same design period. Maybe there was a slight subtle change in the design from, I don't know if it's just first year to second year. And then this one, we have hamburger, beans and franks, corn and butter sauce, French fries, and pudding. I kind of remember the tater tots, and I remember the pudding. I'm sure the pudding was pretty darn tasty. As a kid, I think I loved the brownies in these guys the most of all. I think brownies was my number one thing that I like to have. I wonder. Okay, so this one. So then the third one was the Pirate Picnic. So there's the pirates and there's the games. Let's jump around real quick. It looks like, let's see, here we go. So now we go to the ads. There's always so much digging. We'll move back and forth between everything. Oh, here we go. The Pirate Picnic had the hot dog, French fries, macaroni and meatballs, buttered corn, chocolate pudding, and the milk magic. And another thing we look for with Libbyland, oh man, this one's ready to fall apart, is the newspaper ads. And there's, I don't know, four or 5 or 6 different. And Libby's, the whole sort of premise of them is he's Libbyland lunch and supper is always fun, and then there's Mean Gene who's trying to steal them, of course, and then Libby the kid comes along and vanquishes Mean Gene. So the whatchamacallit one, I've got the back. So this is what would have been in the Pirate Picnic one. Actually, this one's different. This is probably the second year of the Pirate Picnic because it's got a larger hot dog, new potato sticks, and it's got Sloppy Joe in there. And this is kind of fun because it has like the other little piece. And then this has a Libbyland official seal, and it has the offer for the Libbyland Flicker mug. And and we see that it comes with Quick. So by the second year, this is a second year back. So it would have had the Quick, and then this is interesting, isn't it? So on this, so here's the Flicker mug from like the year before, which would have been, let's see, what year is this one? Do I have a year on this anywhere? Oh, 72. Oh, okay, so that dates it pretty nicely. So this ad's from 72. This ad is from 70. At least it's copyrighted 70. So, man, I don't. Maybe this is copyrighted 70, but maybe they started in 71, 72, and then this ad. Let's see if we can find a date on it. This ad is also 72. So maybe they started in 71, and then this is the third ad. By 72, we've added the 2 more. We've added Sea Diver's Dinner and the Gold Strike Supper. Gold Strike being turkey, and then Sea Divers being fish sticks, which I would have never bought. So 71, 72, I would have been 6 and 7. Maybe they came out in 70. That just seems pretty early. Pretty early, because I really remember. So they either came out 70, probably late 70, early 71, and then by 72, we're adding a couple more dinners, including a fish one, and they kind of redesigned the packages at that point too, and they're a little more. I don't know if they still had the yeah. So yeah, so just a couple a 2-year product. But yeah, the mug is sort of the thing you find. So most people, if they have something Libbyland in their collection, they have an ad or they have the mug. And I remember when I started, I was like, oh, what's this mug? And I probably traded, $75 or $100 worth of stuff for the stupid mug. And, now I think on eBay, I think you'd be lucky to get $25 for the mug. But it's a nice little flicker mug. I don't think I even own one anymore because 3-dimensional things. And that's the thing with a lot of my collecting is I've phased out owning a lot of 3D items that take up a lot of space. Because they're 3D items that take up a lot of space. Now here's another fun thing. So the mug was one thing you could get, and then this is how to become a citizen of Libbyland. Fun facts inside. How to become a citizen of Libbyland. Well, you send in your application. And when you got it, you got a giant size fun facts wall poster and a citizenship card. There's also so there's a poster out there and there's a card, and somebody has the kit. I seem to recall in the last year or two somebody posting it somewhere, or maybe I was digging around on Flickr and I found it there, and it has a little fun fact and then it has where to send it. So this would have been in the in there with the thing, and you could send away for it. Pretty cool. And then here's another, and then this is just a little piece of an ad. But this is from one of those Sunday insert magazines, so it's not a Sunday Funnies ad. So I don't think I've ever seen this ad. Let's see if this has a date on it. After expires, no, it doesn't. No date. So that's, as with all things, it's hard work finding the dates. Oh, one of the other super fun things about the dinners was the trays. The trays would have little embossed animals and pirates and little guys when you got to the bottom. So amazingly, these trays do show up fairly regularly and are not super expensive in my experience. So this one has Libby the Kid. It's Mean Gene down there. There's Mean Gene, we can kind of see. This one has the lion. And what's up in the corner? Just a couple of... Oh, there's a little parrot up in one corner. Let's see. There we go, parrot. So the trays have a tendency to turn up. And like I said, these panels turn up every once in a while. They're not the most impossible things in the world to find. And one other little weird object is just a couple of really stupid stickers. But these are Libbyland mini signs. Order a set of these signs. Send to, you have to send in some things. Enjoy the other Libbyland adventure to collect a variety of these mini signs. You're making stickers. Make it about the product. Don't just make it these stupid little things. It's really such a wasted opportunity. Wasted opportunity. Oh, by the way, we're doing Libbyland today because Ralph has been bugging me to do Libbyland for a million years. So if you bug me about something, chances are I'm going to end up doing it. Then last thing we'll look at is some Libbyland cells. And this Sundown Supper with Libby the Kid. This is like my favorite one. Oh, so much light. Because it's got the whole, it's got all the animals from the, what the hell is that one called? The Safari Supper. Don't even remember what it's called. But somebody must have turned up all the commercials, because the cells, there's tons of them out there. You have to remember, in animation world, when cells turn up, if they turn up in quantity, they can turn up in very serious quantities. So always be a little careful when you're spending a lot of money on cells and things. So there's Libby and Mean Gene and some Indians. This one's like pretty crazy. riding on this giant hippo. Yeah, not giant hippo, giant hippos. That says Libby the Kid, and I think I have one more nice one, and then this one's a nice Lilies on the Sea. So it was one of those products that they did a very serious amount of commercials. You know, they really hit it hard, and we'll just take final little look at this. And I mean, this is one of the products that got me collecting kids food. Was I wanted to see one of these boxes because I had them as a kid. I can't imagine I had them constantly as a kid, but I had them a few times as a kid. Certainly, I remember a lot more eating just general TV dinners. You know, maybe these were slightly more expensive. But I mostly was eating Swanson, probably because I was an incredibly picky eater and continue to be an incredibly picky eater. Reminds you of Schoolhouse. Yes, definitely. They all this stuff is sort of that time. But this is the one I really like, just with the animals. It's like really cool. Look at that anemic little piece of chicken. So that's Libbyland. Fun little ride into a really interesting little snapshot of a product that was a little before its time, and now it's a staple at the grocery store is the kids' TV dinner. So that's the way it goes. You know, one product maybe sort of is out there fighting for that shelf space, and they're like, well, we'll give you a little shelf space. But now that there's so much shelf space, that product line can go in there and survive. But of course, the TV dinner started much earlier than that with Swanson, and this is sort of in my opinion, the seminal box. It's the Swanson TV brand entree. There's the dinner. It's 2 pieces of chicken, the mashed potatoes, and then the little butter. So there'd be a little frozen bit of butter, and then when you cooked it up, of course, in your oven as opposed to your microwave, that butter would melt, and you'd be left with a little spot of butter. And there's fried chicken with whipped potatoes. And I mean, I don't know if this was absolutely why, but they call them TV brand, and they call them TV dinners, and then the front looks like a TV. There's the wood grain, and there's the sort of screen, and there's the dinner. So that was sort of, I'm pretty sure, the impetus for why these got called TV dinners. Because this sort of type of frozen food, although I think it would just be, there'd be chicken pot pies and things like that. This made it into a dinner. So it wasn't just an entree in there. It was like, here's this, and then as it went on, this and this and this. And so, the initial one is 2 things, kind of mashed together. We didn't start dividing them. And this is really the revolution where, as we go, and I would guess this box is there any kind of way to date this? No, there's some patent stuff, but no numbers. I would say this box is like 1960. That would be my guess, just based on the printing, based on that. I don't have the ads to sort of back it up, but my guess would be 1960, 61. And that seems like it's really the hot spot of when it began. So, frozen food already existed. Frozen food, there's a whole process of how frozen food works, and it works pretty darn well for a lot of products. And so this one changed how things worked because now it was a whole dinner. You wouldn't just have an entree. You're sort of saying, okay, here's your whole dinner. Boom, do your dinner with us. One and done. And it also is the beginning of, really appealing to the pickiness of people, where Dad can have fried chicken and I can have meatloaf and Mom can have spaghetti or something. And that's a real, once everybody in the family can have exactly what they want to eat at that moment, it just revolutionizes everything. And then, and so Swanson gets this and, they run with it. Here we go. This is a dinner. This one is big. This is the old Salisbury steak, which was one of my go-tos as a kid. Soup. Okay, soup, a peach cobbler, peas, and the classic mashed potatoes. 5-course meal. It is a Salisbury steak, broiled Salisbury steak dinner. It is a 3-course dinner. And this one has a UPC, so this has got to be like from, when did we really start hitting UPCs? Like 74, 75. So this is much later. But it's still really, you know, Swanson's stuck with that wood grain and that turquoise triangle. And it's a really good looking box. And, you know, we still have this sort of TV cutout. I think the other thing is this one's a little later, but I wouldn't be surprised if these fronts, these are some of the older ones, that these fronts, they kept them for years. Here we got a beef one. And as you can see, this is much earlier. You know, look at the variation in the font. It's got a much earlier feel. Once again, it's the 5-course. What do we got? We got soup, we got hash browns, we got corn, and what is that thing? Oh, cherry crisp. Oh my God, that sounds delicious. I think I was saying earlier, it's hash browns. That sounds really good. I love hash browns. I love the brownie. The brownie that came out of the Swanson was just great because it'd be this little frozen brownie, then it would thaw, and then it would cook, and it was a baked brownie. And you can see this back is very similar to that early one. And, you know, 30 minutes in the oven, boom, you have dinner. And, you know, for some reason these ones are cut down, but they're just beautiful. You know, like, look at that, what is it, Swedish design tableware. You know, that's mid-century modern tableware. And then here's the classic fried chicken, once again with soup, apple brown Betty, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn. And, you know, the chicken breast was pretty damn good back then. I'd eat this one again today. I will not deny. Yeah, good stuff. And then we get into like this. These are the ones sort of more of my childhood. You know, boom. We're down to the 4 and the 3 and the 2s, because that's what we ate. I don't remember these giant 5s. They would have never. My parents would have never got me that as a kid, and I wouldn't know. As a kid, I did not eat much, so I would not have wanted to eat that. And fried chicken really seems to be one of the most popular. And the apple cake cobbler, once again, looking absolutely delicious. You know, this back is very similar to the back on this one. Right? It's the same time frame of back. And this one has the stainless steel set, 1979. So this one's from 79. So this one is probably from 78, 77, 76 at the, 76, So this is what we're looking at 79. Really classic. That wood grain. We've lost the silverware. We really just see what the heck is going on here. We cover up the mashed potatoes because everybody knows what those mashed potatoes are at this point. Everybody knows. And, really terrible Rogers stainless steel tableware. Yuck. This one's cute. English style fish and chips, a little English hat on there. What is that? It's like what's that kind of guy? Beef guy. Yeah, that's what it is. Good one, Dan. And these were the ones we ate, where you just have you'd have a starch and a protein. Boom, starch and protein. That was life. Starch and protein. Oh, and here's that brownie. I would never have eaten this meatloaf because of those green beans. Disgusting. But man, those tater tots, you love them. I would not trust that tomato sauce, but that's just me. Once again, 1979 because of that tableware offer. And boom, peas and carrots. What is that? Is that a cranberry? Apple cranberry. And this is probably, I'm a big cranberry guy. Beef eater. Jason gets it for the win. Beef eater hat. I got the beef word right. This is probably where I first encountered cranberries. I mean, in addition to, of course, Thanksgiving, another 79 because of that tableware. So probably somebody saved all, and probably got all those from the same place. That's why they're all from the exact same time period. And then this one is Hungry Man. And so Hungry Man was an offshoot. And so Hungry Man, the idea was more meat for the hearty appetite. So as opposed to putting a dessert in there and other junk, this one's just like slamming the proteins. And as you can see, that design pretty much the same. I don't think and that's the end of my Swansons. I'm sure into the 80s they started changing those packages. I'm not the guy to ask to pull out all my stuff from the 80s because I don't have a lot of stuff from the 80s. Here's a Banquet. So, Banquet was one of the competition ones. This box also, I believe they made for a lot of years. This one does not have UPC, but I'm pretty sure I've seen these very similar boxes with the UPC. And I as a kid, don't think I ever ate a Banquet TV dinner in my life. Because I look at this and I'm like, that weird corn, I don't ever remember that. Swanson was just, other than a few Libbylands, Swanson was where we were at. And then a Morton. And this one, this is getting into the 70s for sure. This one might even be very early 80s. But this one has a whole, some cutouts on the back, and like inside the box is printed, so you can make a whole farm. So they're still pitching to kids. See if there's any dating on this. And, even Morton's kind of copying that wood grain. It's like, well, thank you, Morton, for trying to do it. I guess meatloaf came in tomato sauce. I do not remember that. We'd have meatloaf, and my mom would put ketchup on the top of it, and then the ketchup would bake. But I don't remember meatloaf in tomato sauce as a kid. Like I said, I ate Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak kid. For all the good it did me. And then a couple other... These are kind of neat because they're signs for a little early. And here we can see a little earlier of what was going on, Frozen food was for just a bunch of frozen chicken wings that Mom would then serve up on a beautiful silver platter. Isn't that how your mom did it when you were a kid? She would get out the silver platter. And this one's the chicken breasts. Cool little Swanson chicken going on up there. Ready for frying. So these were frozen, but you'd still fry them, I guess. Once again, the silver brought out on a silver tray. And then this, the pot pie is really the beginning of the individualized meal, frozen meal, sort of in my thinking. I've sold tons and tons of frozen chicken pot pie and whatnot. Chicken pot pie boxes, because you used to be able to find you'd find a lot of this kind of generic stuff, and what it would be was stuff that went out to appliance stores that would then stock their model, their floor refrigerators with the stuff. So it was fun stuff that you could find. So that's TV dinners. We might have a couple more frozen things. Now we're just going to go into some more of the entree related stuff. Big John's Fixins. And this is, kind of at the, I don't know if this is the beginning, but Big John's was like Hamburger Helper. And so Big John was this guy. I have to imagine there were commercials. There's a whole story. Is there a whole story about him? Oh no, this has helped save the American bald eagle. So it was like this whole sort of homespun American thing, but you'd cook up the hamburger, and then you'd add macaroni and sauce, or you'd add noodles and peas and carrots. And Big John's also came in a can. I have those labels somewhere. I didn't find them for this thing, but yeah, Big John's. And of course, I had two of these, and gloriously, they were both different. They're both in different boxes, and I pulled them out, and they probably hadn't been near each other ever. And I got to see that they were differing. Hamburger Helper is where we went when we were kids. I don't remember ever eating Big John's. Hamburger Helper, on the other hand, was a staple. And beef stroganoff or beef noodle, top of the list. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. I mean, I can't imagine we ever did any of these weird casserole things. We just cooked it up in the skillet, fry it up, and cool. You know, Hamburger Helper is fun because it actually has a character helping hand, which I don't think I've ever met anybody that collected helping hand specifically, but I used to have 4 or 5 things, and there's a lot of weird stuff, you know, including what came in this. You could have ordered off this box. The Helping Hand Kitchen box, which was an oven mitt, a memo board, and some magnets. Like, they're kind of premiums, but they were premiums for Mom. And so it's always kind of nice. It's always kind of nice when Mom gets a premium. And, of course, there's always things like macaroni and cheddar and rice-a-roni. And I just got a really nice Kraft mac and cheese box from Dan Bretta, who has more of them. These nice, like, early ones that are beautiful. And I put it in some other box, and now I don't know where it's at. And it's gorgeous. So I'll pull that out on another show because, I mean, talk about an iconic box is that early Kraft macaroni and cheese, you know. Of all products, I've eaten so many of those. So those are some sort of macaroni products. Now we're going to kind of go back into we'll just take a little bit of a look at Oscar Mayer, which this is a cool little sign. God knows how they would use that. And it came with this other little sign, which is Little Oscar. Little Oscar, who started out as like actually a little person, portrayed him in at events and probably on TV too. And then at a certain point they sort of cartoonized him, and I guess he's a kid. I guess he's not a little person anymore. And I love Little Oscar stuff. There's a cool inflatable of him. They made a bunch of puppets, which I don't even know if I have the set of puppets anymore, but I have this sign, because the sign is, a lot of times, you know, puppets and things like that, like the thin plastic ones, I like them and all that, but they're kind of boring, and these ones went with Captain Kangaroo, and then just generic characters. But the sign, that's where it's at for me, because this is, I don't know, this feels like the more really sweet ephemeral piece. This is the piece I would like to, and I always love a character when they have their own character on a puppet on their own hand. And I've always sort of liked puppet issue stuff, or more importantly, I liked the stuff where it promoted puppet issues. It's silly. Just a little coloring book. Wienermobile. I mean, who doesn't love the Wienermobile? I mean, it's, like, let's talk about the glory of things. There's a fleet of Wienermobiles still, well, maybe not right this second, but there's still a fleet of Wienermobiles that drive around the country. And we got a whole thing about the Oscar Mayer Company. Then another super interesting piece is how to play the little Oscar song on your wiener whistle. And they used to give away tons and tons and tons of these wiener whistles. Sorry, let me rephrase that. They still give away tons and tons of wiener whistles. Now they're shaped like the Wienermobile, which is very cool. I think they still give them away. And this is from somebody got this in 1967. I wish I was an Oscar Mayer wiener, etc., etc. But this is what I love. This little weird piece of paper has a hole where the pad would have been. Where was that? Who knows? And here's another. This is another super ephemeral thing I thought I'd never see. Raff Hot Dogs did a promotion with these little Indians. Oh man, there's a little whistle too. Oh, I forgot that. So sort of in competition to Oscar Mayer, they had these 10 little Indians, and they were each one was a little hot dog, and there's a little whistle of these guys. It's so cute. Oh man, I wish I knew where that was. And then this is like a little headband. So it's like a Indian headband. So you do that, and the little wiener sticks out, and it's like super cool. And then at some point, I found the package. this has to be one of the rarest things that there is, because think about this. Think about, I eat hot dogs. When you crack open a hot dog package, it's disgusting. It has all this hot dog juice in there, and then, you never use the whole thing at once. So you don't just go, open it up, eat 10 hot dogs. You use it one at a time, and by the end, you're just like, oh, I cannot wait to throw this out. Somebody didn't throw it out. And there they all are, all 10 of them on there. So cool. And then this one, too, is pretty cool. Beef Superior's beef wieners. But this one, that's what I'm all about. Those are the ones that got me excited in the day, still keep me very excited about this stuff, because you're just like, that is so ephemeral, so not savable. There could be one of these in this kind of condition still in the world. The rest are in dumps, but one of them made it out. One of them made it out alive. And I'd known about it because I think there's a couple of newspaper ads. So I think I've had the newspaper ads first. Then I found that. Then I found the headdress. Probably found the whistle in between somewhere. One of the other great characters, which is sort of in this whole vein, is Charlie Tuna for Starkist. Charlie Tuna, once again, one of the great characters of all time. Made a beautiful vinyl figure of him. There's just maybe not an infinite amount of premiums, but just tons and tons of great premiums. And just, that the commercials, that voice acting, I'm sure that was somebody really big. And he just, he was the brand. This is 1973, like talk about a perfection of time. What a beautiful sign. And this, so like with me, I don't collect everything Charlie Tuna at this point. I probably had, 4 or 5. I probably got 2 or 3 other signs kicking around here somewhere, which I'll probably sell at some point. But this one, this is, I always look for that sort of what I consider to be the quintessential piece. This is a 1973, nice size, full Charlie, name of the product, there's the price. This is everything, other than having like a, photo can or an illustration of the can on there too. Just, oh man, great. And this is, so this would have hung off the shelves right there. And I've got a few of the labels. Chunk light tuna. At a certain point they start putting this, measuring tape to sort of say, yes, this will keep you thin in spring water, so it's not in oil, like oil. And this one's an earlier one, where it's a pre-Charlie, where it was just this fisherman guy. Very cool. And these are cool because they're little foil wrappers. Once again, very hard to photograph. Now this product is bonkers. Everyone knows Lipton Soup, but Lipton also did this character called Zoop Man. And sadly, I do not have a complete box of this. I have this scraps. Jason, who's in the chat right now, I think he's got a complete one. He got a complete one from somewhere. Curse you, Jason. But I'm okay with this. And talk about characters that are from that sort of really 70s of Freakies, Harry Nilsson's The Point, Yellow Submarine. It's kind of nuts when Yellow Submarine kind of design is creeping into food packaging. And I love that. I just love that to death. You better hurry up. Go a little faster because we got a lot of labels to get through. And then we get the redesign of Zoop Man. He is a kind of crappy circus guy with a pot on his head. And then they make him smaller because he's so terrible. And then at a certain point, he's gone. Kind of neat circus puppets. So that's a little bit of Zoop Man. We'll do a little Appian Way pizza. Anybody? This is the top. And we ate about 1 million Appian Way pizzas when I was a kid. And I think I don't know if they still make it. This is a nice weird one. Poppins Pizzas. They're pizzas that went in the toaster. And I also have part of the box for, I think I still have it. I couldn't find it when I was getting ready for this, which is strange. Kellogg's did one like a Pop-Tart too. So, and what kid wouldn't have want that? What mom wouldn't have gotten that for the kid? Also, I think this is kind of one of those primordial things, which is now a shelf staple, which is Pizza Magic. It's just pizza sauce in a jar. So this is the jar label from our boy, Chef Boyardee. Thank you, Mr. Boyardee. Chef Boyardee, there's the cheese pizza, just like the Appian Way pizza. Just, those are totally, totally tasty and good. And a nice John's frozen pizza. And if you go to the grocery store now, there's an entire aisle of frozen pizzas. You cannot, for the life of you, you cannot escape from frozen pizzas nowadays. They're a product line. I mean, how many different companies are fighting for that frozen pizza market? So now we're just going to look at some can labels. SpaghettiOs. This is the new one. This is the first one. Such a simple design, but it went on to basically be iconic. Here's another one where we lost the new. I don't know if there's any other real differences in these two. It's really, and this one's dated 1967. There's actually a series of ads for SpaghettiOs, which I didn't pull out, which are really, really good looking ads. SpaghettiOs with Franks. And do I have any Chicken of the Sea ephemera? No, I don't think I do. I mean, I might have a label somewhere, Chicken of the Sea. I never collected the mermaid. Kind of not a character I really cared that much about. Sliced Franks, I love it. SpaghettiOs with meatballs. So those were the three, Oh, those were most of the three. And then there were macaroni-O's, which were just O's in a cheese sauce, which I don't remember macaroni-O's from when I was a kid. I don't think I ever ate those. This one has a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang offer on it, which is really cool. So that puts it with a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang 69. Yeah, so it's just 68.69. It's a nice one with a all-American pennants. Just a macaroni with cheese sauce. And that was a thing. I always want to try and find the really nice ones. Franco-American spaghetti. Beef gravy. And now we're going to get into one of my favorite characters. King Sauce. There's King Sauce. And his buddy, Dragon. And this was a character that maybe this was before SpaghettiOs. This might have been yeah, this is probably right before. Oh wait, here we go. This one's dated 1967. And what was that SpaghettiOs dated? Let me see what that SpaghettiOs was dated. The end, July of 67, and this is from March of 67. So right before SpaghettiOs, they sort of tried to do King Sauce and Dragon. And they put him on the spaghetti label, and here's the one with the puppet offer. And once again, this, like I said, this is like the Dan Goodsell dream piece. 1966. So 66, 67, they were trying to get King Sauce going. Made a couple of puppets, put him on the labels. What's also really cool is here's the instructions for the puppets and a little order form for more. Would you like additional? So this little scrap of paper would have been in with the puppets, which is so cool. So here he is on the side with the little flag. Here he is, spooning out some spaghetti and beef. And here's some Italian spaghetti. So that's king sauce and dragon. Very cool. Now we're going to cut. So we should have done that stuff first, then SpaghettiOs second. And then, you know, SpaghettiOs becomes just sort of an evergreen brand in the 70s, you know. So we just keep on looking at these. Put this sort of stupid kid on there. Got some fun and games on the inside. And, you know, you're like, these were ostensibly made to be saved. I've found one. And then the SpaghettiOs decided they wanted a character, and so they created the Wizard of Oz. Once again, also in that sort of Schoolhouse Rock's animation style. And Wizard of Oz is nice because they made some products, including a little bowl. And as you can see, you know, Libby did the mug. These guys did the bowl. They also did a mug of this. You know, they made things that were a little more utilitarian. How hard is it to play with a puppet instruction? Well, they set up with the puppet instructions. They show you how to, you know, what the stage should be like, how to make battlements, what you need for special effects. Come on, Ralph, get serious. Here's Wizard of Oz on Raviolios. Here's the one with the mug offer, another Raviolios. And then the last, most important one, you can get your own vinyl of the Wizard. And I had a feeling I got a bunch of, you know, I have tons and tons of, at one point, not tons and tons, but I think I got a big group of these. And there was one with the Wizard offer. All the rest were the stupid bowl and the mug. I'm like, can I have all the Wizard offers? Because that's the most interesting one. And then this one's a little more contemporary. Monster in My Pocket figure. And the thing about this one from 1993 is I saved this from the grocery store myself. And I think I mailed away from those. I think I collected those for a little while too while they were coming out. Some stupid KidWorks thing. And then we're getting more and more contemporary. And then UFOs, which is a cute label. And there's UFOs, and then there's UFOs with meteors, which is Meatballs. Pizza-Os, which actually sound kind of good. Cheese-Os. And then we got some Chef Boyardee. Some early Chef Boyardee. And Chef Boyardee was like a real dude out there somewhere. Beefaroni. Beefaroni's kind of a product that I've heard of. I don't think we ever ate any of it. We always ate SpaghettiOs. That was a go-to with me as a kid. This one's kind of, I guess I got two of these. This one's kind of fun. Raviolis, but with a Barbie doll and Sizzler and juice machine offer. That's pretty cool. I think I had a store sign for this one at one point. Lasagna. Mini ravioli. And Zooroni, where it's little zoo animal shapes. And you can see, I don't know, it's interesting because in the world we're living in now, more and more people grew up in the 80s that are collecting, and they love 80s graphics. I look at this graphic, and I'm kind of like, ugh, it's kind of terrible. You know, I'm a 60s, 70s kid, so that's the graphics I like. So I'm sure someone's looking at this going like, oh my God, that's the one I had. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So times change. Pizza sauce. This is probably from the 90s. I would not be surprised. Oh, this is from like 89. And then another one that I saved was Sir Chomps-a-Lot. And as you can see, I cut the coupon out. I think there was like a puppet. I think I mailed away for the puppet. And then this would have been in the 90s, 92. So, like in 1992, I was starting to save stuff. 91, 92. I mean, because that's when I was collecting. So actually, I probably started buying a few things in like 89 and 90 when I was starting to collect. And yeah, I could have bought all the 80s stuff that people care about now. Libby Sloppy Joe with a really cool Easy Rider. It's like actually, I think it's an iron-on. Yeah, it's a free iron-on, which is pretty cool. And then I think I showed these in another show, but these are Happy Soup labels. So they're Disney doing some soup. I don't have a lot of soup stuff. And these are cool because they have stuff on the backs. You know, a lot of times when Disney did stuff, it would either be very expensive or very cheap. And these are very expensive. The art is nice. The design is nice. The Donald is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. So we have one more thing to do. The last one is Latroy Chow Mein Noodles. But the cool thing about Latroy Chow Mein Noodles is they had a mascot character called Delbert the Dragon. Which, Delbert the Dragon was a live, I think it was a full-size costume, series of commercials with a full-size mascot costume of Delbert the Dragon. But the cool thing is Delbert the Dragon was designed by Jim Henson and the Jim Henson Studios. And the other cool thing is they made a Delbert the Dragon puppet. This is the kind of puppet I love. You know, vinyl-headed puppet. They also did an inflatable of him. Now that I think about it, I have an ad for an inflatable. I have never seen that one, but you know, here's the Jim Henson character turned into a puppet. So that's Entrees and Libbyland and TV dinners. We'll go back to Libbyland one last time. Take a look at that baby. Some sweet stuff. Milk Magic. So if you're out there and you have one of these Milk Magic packs, let me know. Even if you don't want to sell it, I'd just like to see one. You know, one time see one. Fish and chips, I'm going to take a pass. So, thanks chat for being here. This was a fun one. I think next week we're going to do vitamins and health related stuff. So, maybe some soaps, maybe some toothpaste, vitamins. I'm losing my voice. So if you like this one, check out my other videos. Come back next week for the live show. Thanks everybody that was in there. Anna, Jason, Ralph, Groovy Archives. I think there were a couple more people. So it was a fun one. And we'll see you in another week because I'll be back on Sunday.